everyone, and welcome to the Looney Tunes Art Museum. Or should I say, the Looney Tunes.
You suck!
Anyway, I'll be your tour guide for today, and for those of you who don't know what this tour is about, let me put you in the picture. As a follow-up to the Back in Action game review, I thought it might be a good idea to try and identify all of the references in the paintings around the Louvre, or as many as I can anyway. I'm going to organise this video into 3 categories. First of all, in no particular order, we'll look at examples that are simply screenshots or official Chuck Jones paintings of specific animated shorts. Then the second part of the video will be devoted to paintings that combine Looney Tunes characters with actual existing classical artwork. And finally, I'll be discussing some unknown and miscellaneous ones at the end. Get the picture?
Hey, I must be in Paris! Well, parlez-vous français and ooh la la.
Just before we get started, I just want to point out that I won't be talking about this painting as it's not really a reference to anything. It's simply used in this level to enter the Kabooma tennis game, and otherwise I don't really have anything to say about it.
You can't do that!
Anyway, we'll kickstart the tour with this depiction of Elmer with flowers on his head, which is actually a cropped version of Chuck Jones's original 1993 painting, representing a scene from the infamous Rabbit of Seville, released in 1950. This image of Sultan Sam is actually taken directly from a cartoon called Arabian Nights, released in 1959, in which Bugs is forced to entertain the Sultan with stories of his past adventures. So yeah, it's essentially a clip show comprised of scenes from previous shorts. Why they decided to commemorate this in the Louvre, I have no idea. One scene featured in this compilation is from Water Water Every Hair, which technically also makes this short one of very few cartoons to feature, yes, Gossamer.
Not again!
Will this big monster just leave me alone, please? Speaking of monsters, we also have a screenshot of Hugo the Abominable Snowman, cradling Bugs Bunny, seen in the cartoon The Abominable Snow Rabbit from 1961. And as I mentioned in a review, there's a screenshot of the Pepe Le Pew cartoon Louvre Come Back to Me, released in 1962, which marks the final appearance of the character in the Golden Age. And now he might never be seen again. Well, that just stinks. While some screenshots feel random and out of place to me, I can understand including screenshots of some more significant ones. One Froggy Evening, for example, is considered an iconic cartoon. Released in 1955, this is essentially a humorous, cautionary, and actually depressingly truthful short film about greed. If for whatever reason you've never seen it, I recommend checking it out. Believe me, there's a reason it's held in high regard.
Hey, I'm your biggest fan!
There's also a screenshot taken from Rocket Squad from 1956, a futuristic parody of police TV shows Dragnet and Racket Squad.
Joe Monday. Over.
As seen in the review, there's also a scene from Captain Hairblower, released in 1954, and a rather ordinary looking frame of Tweety. I initially found this hard to distinguish, but this is actually from Tweety's SOS from 1951. Hey, do you mind? I'm trying to look at the paintings! Tut tut! No flash photography! Seriously though, it's annoying trying to admire all the scenery while having to pussyfoot around the place. Talking of which, there's a screenshot of 1952 short Feed the Kitty, starring Mark Antony and Pussyfoot in their debut. And if I'm not mistaken, the statues outside also reference this short.
Mark Anthony!
Mark Antony was never a hugely popular character, but it's nice to see some acknowledgement. You might say he's made his mark. Another Chuck Jones painting is a 1993 depiction of a scene from Drip Along Daffy, released in 1951.
Have a drink.
This cartoon is a parody of classic westerns, and contains the first appearance of Nasty Canasta, who went on to appear in various other Looney Tunes media, including this very game. There are only 2 other screenshots that I recognised, one of which was very obvious to me, as it's taken from the opening to the Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner short Scrambled Eggs from 1957. But the other one I found a lot more obscure. This shot of Daffy appears to be from the 1983 compilation movie Daffy Duck's Movie Fantastic Island. This is a very odd screenshot to include, especially as this so-called movie is basically just an extended bridging sequence for showcasing old cartoons. However, the featured cartoons include Captain Hairblower and Louvre Come Back to Me, so it's possible that they obtained all of these screenshots from the movie and just lazily used this image to fill some space. And speaking of space, there's also a nod to another significant Looney Tunes cartoon, as we find a painting of Duck Dodgers from 1994. This is clearly inspired by the 1953 short Duck Dodgers in the 24th and a half century, which itself is derived from sci-fi comic strip and film serial Buck Rogers in the 25th century. And to conclude this part of the video, we come to the final Chuck Jones painting. This is also dated 1994 and depicts a scene from the infamous 1957 cartoon What's Opera Doc, a sublime parody of Wagner's operas.
rabbit, killed the rabbit.
As such, in 1992, this became the very first animated short film to be selected for preservation in the National Film Registry of the Library of Congress. So yeah, in my opinion, this definitely deserves a place in the gallery. How ironic that we end on a positive note with an opera. Now we get to the second part of the video, in which I'll be discussing some of the more interesting hybrid paintings, consisting of Looney Tunes characters superimposed over classical artwork. First of all, we have The Starry Night, painted in 1889 by Van Gogh, incorporating one of the Martians on a scooter from Hairway to the Stars. This piece isn't actually at the Louvre, however. In reality, this piece can be viewed at the Museum of Modern Art in New York. Obviously minus the Martian. That wasn't in the original painting. I know it's a shock and I'm sorry to disappoint. We also see Bugs Bunny superimposed over the Van Gogh self-portrait, the famous oil painting, also from 1889. I guess it's what you call oily hair. I'm sorry. Again, this is not held at the Louvre, but at the Musée d'Orsay, also in Paris. Oh, c'est Paris, that'll do. It's sounding more Scottish than French. It's like, that'll do, donkey, that'll do. We also see Pepe Le Pew's head mapped on top of the Blue Boy by Thomas Gainsborough, painted circa 1770, which can be seen at the Henry E. Huntington Art Gallery in California. And Yosemite Sam, or Pirate Sam, superimposed over 1624 painting The Laughing Cavalier by Frans Hals, which is actually on display at the Wallace Collection in London. Oh, and as a side note, this screenshot of Sam is also taken from Daffy Duck's Fantastic Island. Well, paint me surprised. One of the most fitting and amusing paintings to me is this one. The original painting is called Arrangement in Grey and Black No. 1, but it's more commonly known as Whistler's Mother. Painted in 1871, this piece depicts the mother of artist James McNeill Whistler. Here we see Granny's head humorously slapped on top. I actually find the fact that this was done so lazily to be even funnier, although it makes me wonder why they didn't instead feature Whisker's mother, a 1989 painting by Chuck Jones depicting an elderly rabbit, Bugs Bunny's mother, watching Bugs Bunny on TV. The original Whistler's Mother painting is also on display at the Musée d'Orsay. You don't say! Finally, there's Witch Hazel in place of the Mona Lisa by Leonardo da Vinci. I'm not sure whose idea this was, but I certainly wouldn't want this hung on my wall. I mean, let's face it, she's no oil painting. Well, I guess now she is. Also, this is actually the only piece of art they reference here that's genuinely at the Louvre, which is kind of amusing to me. Maybe they just figured other paintings would be more recognisable. Now we'll move on to the final portion of the video, in which I just want to talk about the remaining images. First of all, there's this painting, which seems to depict a wrestling match between Daffy and the Crusher. I personally don't think this is based on anything besides the wrestling match that takes place later in the game.
Ooh, you think you're tough, do you?
It's not a screenshot though, so I actually think it might be concept art for the game. Then we have a picture of Daffy Duck standing somewhere. Again, I think this might be from the game itself, and if that's not lazy enough, it genuinely looks like somewhere in Paris. You know, that place where we are. How imaginative. Again, it might be concept art. Either way, it seems a bit low-key for a painting. I feel the artist wants to brush up on my creativity. I'm not feeling the inspiration here. Then we have this bizarre picture of the Looney Tunes celebrating Thanksgiving. I looked this up, and this is apparently some cover art for the re-release of a 1979 Thanksgiving special, simply called a Looney Tunes Thanksgiving, which is fine, but I've absolutely no idea why it's here. At least we know where it's from, I guess. Yeah, this feels like filler again. You might say it's a turkey. The next picture looks a lot like the wooden nickel level in Vegas, but it's so washed out that it's hard to tell. I had a thorough walk around the level and couldn't find this exact spot, but I figured it looks vaguely similar. Since the picture is directly opposite the Crusher fight, I concluded it was likely more concept art. And this was pretty much confirmed after I spoke with the Looney Gamer on Instagram, who directed me to this early mock-up screenshot of Vegas. If you look closely, you can see that not only is the building the same, but the obsessed fans also maintain the same shape as the artwork we see here. Many thanks to the Looney Gamer for helping out with this one.
Thank you.
Oh, and by the way, when I was walking around a casino, this dumpy cowboy started chasing me in a really weird way. What the hell? Leave me alone. I'm sorry to interrupt your performance, but you don't want to maybe call for help or something, buddy? Anyway, I'm most interested in this last picture. It looks like a promotional image, much like the Thanksgiving one. It depicts Bugs Bunny looking horrified at Granny's silhouette in the window. My initial thought was that perhaps it's based on a famous painting of a silhouetted person, but this looks far too elaborate, considering the other pictures were just screenshots slapped on top of paintings. You guys know that I know my Looney Tunes, but obviously I don't know everything. This has happened before with Bugs Bunny Lost in Time, with the picture at the back blank depicting the background from Hairdo. I can't for the life of me deduce where the hell this is from, so I'm throwing this out to you guys once again. I do hope it's not another case like Hairdo and I'll be kicking myself once you tell me, but honestly, I admit defeat here. I am all out of ideas. Really, what the hell is this from? In any case, I hope you've enjoyed this brief tour and that it wasn't like watching paint dry. Thanks for watching, I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye now!
Bye.
Bye!